Hey everyone, my name is Sean Cecil from the Oculus Institute, and today I'm going to teach you guys about the difference between willpower and free will. Okay, so this video was inspired by a conversation I had with a client recently. This particular client is somebody who has a tremendous amount of drive. He's worked very hard in his life, and he's the kind of person who will get on the corporate ladder, who will take on a project, and he will, go all out on something. And so he says, hey, listen, I've got a lot of willpower. On the other hand, he has some areas in his life where he's not doing what he wants to do, right? And he's not taking the actions that he tells himself to take. And he's got this inner conflict over some other areas in his life. And I told him that, what you're lacking, man, is you're lacking free will. And he goes, no, because I work really, really, really hard on things, right? Because he was going back to that willpower. And I said, they're not the same thing. And so that's what I want to teach you guys, is the difference. Is because on one hand, you have people who don't have willpower, at all, right? Who really, really struggle to go outside their comfort zone, right? And they normally end up in stagnation until they address the underlying causes there, which again are often rooted in, their own past emotional traumas that need to be healed, right? Then you look at people who are exhibiting willpower, and I've been this guy. Back when I was at BCG, when I was doing consulting, I would sit down, I would work for 16 hours straight, and I would do the work 3 people, and I would be such a badass, right? And then I would be exhausted as hell the next day, right? And I would have this, conflict about, hey, listen, that really, really sucked. Like, yeah, I did good, but that really, really sucked, right? And I'd be operating in this internal conflict, right? And that's willpower, right? Willpower is where you rely on drive, where you rely on discipline, and it's something where it's draining. And yes, you can do it. And yes, willpower is a muscle, so you can actually make it stronger by doing it, right? But you don't want to live on raw willpower alone, right? And so now let's look at free will and how that's different. So free will is something where you don't have that internal conflict, right? You make a choice. And that choice may be uncomfortable, but if that's the case, you went into it knowing that it was going to be uncomfortable, accepting that discomfort because of the benefits it's going to give you, and so you can do it without the sense of inner conflict, right? Yes, you may say, hey, listen, I would rather that it not take X amount of hours, or I would rather that it not cost X amount of money, but this is what I want at the end of the day, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, right? And if you're operating from free will all the time, then you don't have the same bounce back effects that you get when you're operating only from willpower. Because when you operate from willpower, you find yourself needing to compensate. Like back when I was at BCG and I was operating from willpower, I would go out and I would get really, really, really drunk every weekend, right? I had this inner conflict and it was coming out in this erratic behavior. And other people, they cope differently. Right? Some people just internalize it completely and then their body starts to do weird things and they have health problems. Some people externalize it in other kinds of erratic behavior, but willpower is going to create this constant friction, right? Whereas free will is something where, you have a very open-eyed assessment of things and you're not doing something because you feel you have to. You're not doing it from a place of fear or obligation or guilt or any of that stuff. You're doing it because when you look at it, on balance, net, it's something that serves you and fulfills your values. And because of that, you're willing to embrace the discomfort because it leads to this other thing that you want, that you care about more, right? And that's free will, right? Because now you're not controlled by the reactions of your mind. You're not somebody who's fighting, all of the different components of your mind and all the resistances and like, oh yeah, I'm fighting the resistance, I'm fighting my desire to do this and that. Like, it's not about fighting anymore. It becomes about choice, right? So willpower it comes from a place of, it looks like it comes from strength, but it actually comes from weakness because it's bound by these have-tos. It's bound by these reactions. It's bound by this constant struggle. Whereas free will has none of that. Free will is about freedom. Free will is about, I choose to do this. And it starts from recognizing that you don't have to do anything, right? You can choose to not do anything in the world, right? Granted, there will, if you don't do something, you might not get some reward, right? And if you feel that you have to have a reward, now you've created an attachment and now you're going to be back in willpower, right? But fundamentally, if you can get to that place of non-attachment, you can get to that place of calm, open-eyed assessment, you can get to that place where you calm your mind and your awareness is in charge instead of just, whatever thoughts happen to be going through your head. Now you can operate from a place of free will. Before you go, I've got a free gift for you. So if you found this video valuable, if it helped you see the world in a new way, and you're interested in building a career that's going to bring you both personal fulfillment and financial prosperity, then I've got a free presentation for you to help you do just that. So if you go to the link below, it's www.oculusinstitute.com/workshop. That's www.oculusinstitute.com/workshop. Then it'll take you to a registration for a free presentation. It's about 50 minutes long, that's 50, and it's gonna give you the step-by-step process to building your dream career. See you there.